Congressman Joe Sestak, who is a former three-star Navy admiral. He's was the director for defense policy under President Clinton. This man has more time than any other congressman in the military, and I appreciate him joining us today to get this straightened out before this historic speech tonight. How you doing, Congressman?
I'm doing well, and Michael, thanks for having me on.
This is very important to my listeners. George, say hello to the Congressman.
How are you, Congressman?
Good, George, and thank you.
So here we are on the eve of hours away, from 2 hours away from this very important speech. This is historic, is it not, sir?
It is historic, and it's extremely important for our nation, and quite frankly, I think this is important for our president. I have been taken by his deliberate approach to this, and I'm expecting him to state tonight, and I support him, that this is no longer about Afghanistan. To your point, Michael, it's really about Pakistan and the safe haven that sits in that nation that's close to becoming a failed state that has nuclear weapons and 2,000 scientists who have access to radioactive material and the knowledge that could be used by the Al-Qaeda and the radical Taliban in Pakistan. And the mere reason to be in Afghanistan is to support the Pakistan army to help eradicate that safe haven of Al-Qaeda that plans against us. I expect this president to tell us this won't be an open-ended commitment, and that he will, as President Bush did not do in that tragic misadventure in Iraq, that we will have an exit strategy that will be triggered by benchmarks of success or failure as we go forward, and a continual assessment is the benefit worth the cost to America. And I believe this president is doing the right thing.
You know, everybody's exhaling, as I am. Being prior Air Force, had a brother who served, had a cousin who served. I got a lot of people who listen to the show who are in the service who come back in and tell us all the stories about what's going on over there, and they're proud to serve. But many more want to come home, and a lot of folks calling right now. I'm looking at my phone lines. Bring the troops home. For those who say bring the troops home, you say what to those family members?
You know, I say that they're right. We do have to bring them home. But before we say when, all I ask, and I was on that ground very early in the war in Afghanistan. I headed the Navy's anti-terrorism unit, so I went in early for a short period of time. And I saw how well we were doing this, not only in terms of conflict, but in terms of beginning to leave a society that would never be hospitable to Al-Qaeda again. And my take on it is that as we all served, we joined up to say, here am I, send me. Much like the good book Isaiah. And God asked Isaiah, who shall go for us, who shall I send? Here am I, send me. My take on it is that this tragic war in Iraq, we should have never gone in. But this is a war that I think is worth the additional burden we will ask of not only our military service members, but our families. And I would ask them to listen to this president, who truly understood this war, as he once said, was a necessary war, not Iraq. Give him the benefit of the doubt that he has taken the thought process, and tonight we'll set up a timetable by whence we won't be there in an open-ended commitment. But he, more than anyone, I think, understands our national security fabric, that this war, not successfully concluded in terms of eradicating that safe haven in Pakistan of Al-Qaeda, will mean more cost to us later on. And you're right, these families of our military members that really are only like 1/3 of 1% of all Americans that have really borne the direct cost in this, we have to keep them in mind because we are asking more. But I think it's a requirement.
Yeah. Everybody, I know George and you and I and Juan and the whole staff is just exhaling, going, you know, we're with our president on this. We knew it was coming. I think that we all suspected, George, that he would have to send more troops in. The question was how many and when.
Right.
Then the question, as you said, Joe, just in case you just tuned in, we're talking to Congressman Joe Sestak out of Pennsylvania 7th District, that he has to have an extra strategy. So we're all going to be listening at 8 o'clock tonight. He's going to be speaking from West Point at the Military Academy West Point. And I just want to see those men and women come home in the next 2 to 3 years. We got to have a timetable. We have to.
Yes, I agree. I think this is very important, this exit strategy. The other side sometimes depicts it as signaling to the opposition what it takes to get us out of there. They're absolutely wrong. This president is, for the first time, going to send benchmarks to let a public know that after 8 years of this war, he will show the cost and the benefit by benchmarks by which we will exit, hopefully successfully, but if not, to an alternative containment strategy outside. And I truly believe this will be one of the most difficult challenges we face. Yes, we have a tough economy, but this is one where the public is understandably tired of this war. We've asked too much of our military.
Absolutely.
But as I said, I opposed the war in Iraq, but this one I feel we have to take this last window of opportunity to salvage a bit more long-term security than if we were not to do this.
Well, I hope you're ready. I'm certainly going to be in front of my television tonight. This is one of the most important speeches any president in history has had to make. So,
yes.
We'll be all standing by. Joe Sestak out of Pennsylvania 7th District. And we'll be listening tonight. And thank you so much for coming on and giving us your perspective.
Thank you. Thank you, George and Michael. Thank you. And thanks for your service.
Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate it.